keyboard on this computer. So thank you so much, all of you, for coming tonight. I appreciate it. I'm going to start off with showing a little video. It's a PowerPoint presentation, just talking about what I've been doing as the mobility manager. And so you have a general overview. So I'll get that started here. Thank you for coming for our public transportation meeting. You see that? My name is Kim Lammers. I'm the mobility manager for Defiance, Fulton, Henry, and Williams County. I work for Maumee Valley Planning Organization as a grant-funded position through ODOT and Federal Transit Administration. And tonight we're going to be talking about what are some of our transportation needs in Northwest Ohio. So first we have a meeting agenda, which I know you're excited for. We're going to go over what our current goals are. We're going to talk about Transportation Coordination Committee, who comprises that, a timeline for a coordinated plan, and data collection. We will be recording the meeting tonight for anyone who is not able to make it, just so all the attendees know. So currently, there are 3 counties that have coordinated plans with ODOT. That's Defiance, Fulton, and Henry. Our intentions are to include Williams in this upcoming round of coordinated plans. And we also have a hope to become a regional coordinated plan instead of having individual plans. This will help for more collaboration, leading to better services and more cost efficiency. So if you go through our current coordinated plans, generally they have very similar goals and objectives. One of the first goals was to hire a mobility manager, which they did, that's me, and I was hired at the end of November 2020. So the other goals and objectives were transporting coordination. That included asking for having 3 annual meetings, which I have started organizing, and service provider survey every year, which has gone out to all of our service providers. This will help us better understand what kind of transportation services we do offer in the region. Looking for funding is our next goal, and trip efficiencies and identifying grant funding opportunities. We are going to have to wait until we get back those provider surveys before we can start looking into trip efficiencies, but we definitely are looking at grant opportunities in the region. The next goal is identifying unmet needs. This includes having a public meeting every 2 years, which tonight is the first public meeting, and then also having a public survey every 2 years, which we have sent out and have started, and we will share a link of that survey at the end of this presentation. Then finally, there's transportation education, letting people know what is available. The first performance measure is attending 10 community events. To date, I have not attended 10 community events because of COVID. However, I'm very hopeful for this summer to be able to start getting out a little more. Monthly newsletters, which we do have and are available on our website, and an increased views on our website. So essentially marketing. So some of our marketing tools that we're using is facebook.com/ or / Northwest Ohio Mobility and NWOmobility.com. These are 2 areas where you can see, who our providers are, and you can also see any activities that are going on for Northwest Ohio Mobility. So, in part of creating a coordinated plan, we were asked to organize a transportation coordination committee. This includes transportation providers, planning agencies, passenger and advocates, human service partners, health providers, private industry, educational institutions, and government officials. To date, we have had 1 meeting with each county, and we have had 1 of the Transportation Coordination Committee meetings that was last week. That was our first regional meeting. So we're just getting started. So as we go towards a regional coordinated plan, we've created this coordinated plan roadmap. Starting here in March. In March here, we're just trying to understand what we have with surveys. We've deployed the public survey, we've deployed provider survey, even stakeholders from our committee to see what they feel like we need in the region. We've also coordinated our first meetings for the Transportation Coordination Committee, and we have started the community planning session with this first meeting. In June, we hope to review all the survey results and be able to prioritize what those unmet needs are, creating goals. Once we've been able to create goals and prioritize our unmet needs, we will send this back out to the community and allow a 30-day comment period for the community to let us know what they think. Then in our September meeting, we'll review the comments and finalize goals. And then once those are finalized, they'll go to the county commissioners for approval. If the county commissioners approve and we move forward in a coordinated plan and can submit it to ODOT, in December, we'll enact the coordinated plan by reviewing the year and starting to create committees and attacking the goals that we were hoping to accomplish. So our first stop is data collection. Right now we have our public survey that is available until May 31st. Please share this with anyone that you may know who has had challenges with transportation, either financial, no license, maybe they have a disability making it unable to so that they can drive. But anyone that might have issues with finding transportation, please encourage them to complete the survey. We have given ourselves a goal of 400 surveys. And also with the public survey, we've created this public meeting to make sure we can answer any questions and just clarify things. There will be a comment period. Tentatively right now, we're hoping for July, and that will be in all the newspapers and on all of our marketing. And then we have a stakeholder survey. That's pretty much everyone who attends our coordinated transportation meeting. And our goal for that is to have our stakeholders have about an 80% survey rate return. And so far, we've pretty much hit that goal. And finally, we have provider information forms, which are due April 1st. And that's where all of the transportation providers in the Fort County area have been encouraged to participate in that, letting us know what transportation programs are out there, what kind of services we have, and how we can better work together. So now we're going to go into questions anyone may have about our coordinated plan and general transportation in the region.
Okay, so I'm afraid my this YouTube is going to keep playing, so let me exit YouTube real quick. Okay, so welcome, Jen. We saw that you added in, and Melissa and everyone else. And so generally speaking, I'm the mobility manager. Like I said in the video, I'm hired through Maumee Valley Planning, and my job is to coordinate with the 4 counties to see how we can better improve our transportation needs. And so generally speaking, especially for our participants who chose to join tonight, what are some of the challenges? What are some of the questions you might have? How might I be of service to you?
The public survey, did I miss that? Did you say where can I find that in order to share it?
I just put it in the chat.
Okay.
And you said you found this meeting through Facebook, yes?
Yes.
So if you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/NWO Mobility, it also has a link. And then NWOmobility.com has a link as well.
Okay.
Good questions. And I have that survey so that screen readers for people who are blind or visually impaired I've been told that it does work with screen readers, and I've had it translated into Spanish. I also have delivered or mailed it a paper copy if somebody has requested that. I believe in Henry County, we did paper copies for all the seniors who get meals through the senior center. So if there's any barriers to taking that survey, please let me know, and I will definitely do my best to try to help. Other questions? What are some concerns or things you see with trying to find rides and transportation in the area?
And maybe I should have done a little bit of research on it, but what are the steps to set up rides through like Henry County Transportation? Like, do they have to call ahead? How far in advance do they need to do that?
You're very lucky because Brad Booth is on this call, but, and so he's gonna call me to the mat if I'm wrong about this. Yeah, Henry County will offer rides to anyone in Henry County. Normally they ask for 24 hours in advance, if not a little more. And then it just depends on where you want to go and how much that would cost.
And is
And
that-
once, and actually they have a really neat tracking computer system for transportation. So once you become a regular client, they can give you a login where then you just log in and schedule your ride yourself, so you don't have to call each time. So that is really a neat feature, especially for people who utilize it on a fairly regular basis. And for instance, like the trips in, if you're going in a trip in Napoleon area, it's $2. And if you're a senior, that you can even get it cheaper than that. So there's lots of really good things there. Brad, please jump on if I was wrong about any of that.
No, you were right with everything on that. The only difference is currently we're fare free because of the CARES Act until that runs out. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be yet, but once we do go back to collecting fares, we'll give everybody a 30 to 60 day notice.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Once they've scheduled and they need to cancel, can they do that online themselves as well, or do they have to call and cancel that?
They have to call in to cancel.
Okay. Because I feel like that is kind of, I know it sounds silly, but I feel like that's kind of something that gets some of the people we work with, is that they struggle to make those phone calls. And then they end up like they're not there when you guys show up, and it just kind of becomes an issue. And it's something that could be worked on or changed, that they could in fact go in and like cancel it themselves. They just don't really like to make those personal phone calls. I feel like we're in this new age where people just don't want to talk to each other. I don't know.
No, I totally understand that. That is the one thing that I don't like about the CTS system, is if they want to cancel or change an appointment, they don't have the ability to once it's in the system. So they request the ride, say I'm going to Henry County Hospital tomorrow at 2:00. If something happens and they change it to 3:00 or they cancel the appointment, they do have to call in to cancel or change the ride.
Do you know what community events you're looking at attending, or what you have in mind?
Well, I was hoping to get into some of the senior centers, any kind of support groups for low income, to try to see what those experiences are like. Perhaps meeting with some developmentally disabilities people, really anyone that I think is part of this, like they need transportation. I definitely want to get more out there and understand people's experiences and some of their challenges. That way I'll be able to better advocate for them to the best of my ability if I have met them and understand a little more of their challenges. So,
Right.
And one of the things that I do, I'm still learning because I'm fairly new, but I do travel training for individuals. So if there is a person who is having a hard time finding transportation, I'll chat with them. We'll write down I'll ask them some questions, try to figure out, especially outside of Henry County, it gets a little more challenging with transportation. I try to figure out if they qualify for any services or transportation assistance. We have a couple programs in the 4-county area for helping with like car repairs. We have programs that help with saving money, so that if you are trying to save towards a car. So there's a lot of different little programs and support systems, but trying to connect people with those is some of the help that I get, or I try to give. So
Okay. And I'm not like, I just know this has been a big thing for us. And I know, I'm pretty sure I've seen transportation like provide some help for the Kids Fest during the summer and like shuttling and whatnot. But I know like having a table in that tent is really pretty huge in connecting with the community. And for a lot of my families, one thing they bring up is we don't know the people. They're
Mm.
strangers coming to pick us up. We've never met them. We don't know them. So I don't know if like events like that, just to even get people's faces so they can see and they know. And so many people come through that tent. I mean, we reach people from every of the 5-county area just in that one event.
Oh,
Pretty
I
big.
would love to participate in that event if you don't mind.
No, not at all. I mean, it's Kids Fest. I'm not sure. I'll find out. I think it's United Way that you contact for the tables, but I'll find out for sure and let you know.
Sure. And because I am grant funded, 80% of my position here is paid through federal grants, but the other 20% was a match, and it was actually matched by the 3-county United Ways. So I have some connection with the United Ways for that as well, but I've never heard of Kids Fest, so that's good to know.
And then we do like baby showers and events. Once COVID hit, it shut us down, but we are required to do community events. So we'll do different events in each county.
Okay.
Showers, I was throwing them, and we just invited the public. If you're pregnant, if you have a baby under the age of 3 months, they can come in, and we do door prizes, and we've brought in all the different area community service providers that want to help out, like early interventions there. We've had NOCAC there, just some different people that come in and set up tables so that they can give out information as well. So, I mean, that's something that you could get into, and we don't charge anybody for it.
Oh, I'd be happy to. I can bring some resources and things.
Hi, this is Steve Tucker talking. Just taking this all in. It's interesting. You know, I feel like we're a little bit spoiled in Henry County with Henry County Transportation Network. We're trying to push out the surveys to get people to give us some input. You know, I think we have some people, Brad can probably speak to it, that are using the online booking. I think that's going well. We've talked a little bit about, you know, again, COVID has kind of thrown us a curveball, but trying to get maybe some kind of monthly pass to allow people to commute on their own. But I can't right now, sitting here since our last meeting, I don't know if there's what challenges we have. Like I said, the network has very seldom have we not been able to work something out, which is pretty amazing.
That is, definitely.
Because again, and I sound like a broken record, but I've been in places where it does not work. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm giving any good input or not.
No, it's good. Good input is good. Saying that this is a good program.
Of complaints, I know a lot of people haven't heard about the transportation. Like, I feel like the word just isn't out as much as maybe it could be. And so when I'm telling people about it, they're like, whoa, that exists. Like, what is that?
Interesting.
I feel like they just don't even realize that it's there a lot of times.
So possibly marketing the service. Marketing. Okay. Yeah.
You know, that's a good point, because like I see the vans everywhere.
Yeah.
You know,
but it
and
used
you're thinking,
to be
how,
that it was set up for Medicaid and Medicare. Like, that's what's in people's minds. Is
Oh,
think that that's all it's for, is
Mhm.
the older residents or Medicaid provided families. And so I'm like telling them, no, like anybody can use it, like call them. But they had no idea that it was available to them.
I
interesting.
agree. I think that's always a tough thing because we'll find that in our field, in our early intervention program. You know, people will say, hey, when my child was born with a disability, I didn't know what to do. And we're like, how could that be? We're out there, we're talking to all the doctors, we're You know, we're supposed to be in everybody's face, but you know, you think it's out there, but sometimes it's not so obvious.
Mhm. Available to all. And what I've been seeing with our survey results is we're having lower participation in Henry County, but that might be because people don't see themselves having a need and don't recognize like, well, we have this, so I'm not needy. I know I don't need transportation assistance. Is my guess, but I don't know that for sure. And what I do see as the destinations that have the highest percentages of needing help getting to is work. So it's not just, I need a doctor's appointment to go somewhere one time. I need consistent transportation assistance going to work. So like 27% of our respondents said work is their number one challenge of getting to every day. So
I'd agree with that with our families. Work is
Yeah.
a big thing.
okay. And with that is like dropping off your children at childcare and then getting to work and doing all of that is a lot if there's any struggles with transportation. I could see that.
And I know for ours, and it's nothing that I think that transportation can solve, but it is an issue, is they struggle to maybe have the capability of taking the car seat, putting it into that other person's vehicle, going
Yeah.
there, taking the seat out, putting the seat back in, taking it back out. I mean, car seats are a lot of work to install. I'm certified in car seat, technician, but it's a lot to have to take them out and put them in. So that's one reason why a lot of our families are like, forget it, I'm just not going to work because I don't have my own transportation.
Yeah. And then you have to walk around with a car seat all day?
They'll leave them at the sitters.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
You know.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely see that. I know a lot of people put in that car seat and they leave it there because it's installed right and they don't want to mess with it. So that makes sense.
I've struggled with car seats, so yes, I can see that being an issue.
Yeah.
It's not fun to put them in. Some of them are really hard.
I'm sure. Especially in a car that you're not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a safety concern too, because all seat belts are a little different. Like they lock differently, and so if you don't know how to do it in that vehicle, I mean, it is a safety concern for some parents.
I understand. That makes sense.
We had talked at one point of having some people from Help Me Grow talk with our drivers about installing car seats. We don't want to have any of the drivers installing the car seats just for a liability and safety issue, but just for them to be able to say, hey, if I were you, maybe I would do it like this, and then still have them install it. Just the overall liability. We did transport somebody that we would pick her up, she would install the car seat, we would take her to the babysitters, drop off the kid, then take her to work. So she was doing, I think, 6 trips in a day.
Wow.
Because it was, a trip from her house to the babysitter, back to her house to work. And so we've done that before. We are capable of doing that if we know ahead of time that this is what we're going to have.
Right.
Yeah, Brad, I was the one that brought up that I'm like, well, can't we just show them so that if it's not done right, they can say, hey, that might need tightened up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because for you guys, I was concerned that like if something would happen, you'd be like, well, if I would have known, like, and I don't know, I would feel terrible if it was me, but
I understand the liability concern too.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Is there anything in like Bryan yet or in the Williams County area?
What do you mean by, is there anything? Because that's a challenging question.
They can use Medicaid and Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other transportation options for people who aren't receiving those services, or maybe it's not a medical appointment?
Mm-hmm. Okay, Williams County. So each county, Job and Family Services has a PRC program. Are you familiar with this? Prevention, Retention, and Contingency. So every county has different rules. Williams County, they have services for vehicle repair, gas vouchers for employed adults with minor children, so that would be good for you. Rental and utility assistance, job-related services, uniform, work boots, safety glasses, etc. Williams County Bed Brigade, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. I should have asked more questions when they gave me this brochure. And then other services depending on what is in need. So I would say transportation-wise, it's fairly limited, but they have programs to kind of support people finding their own transportation. And again, Williams County is part of these meetings, and the hope, I think, we'll see what ends up happening, because it's a long process, as you saw from the presentation, it's a whole year. The hope is that they would join in and do a coordinated plan and start identifying some things in Williams County for transportation as well. And you're familiar that with Medicare and Medicaid matches or managed plans, that they have, like CareSource and all of them are offering transportation right now? You're familiar with that?
Yeah, we've set up a lot of our families and they utilize that a lot, but I feel like they're getting last minute cancellations by their rides a lot lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like people have really been struggling with those programs from what I've been hearing and what my families have been telling me. They're like, they don't show up sometimes, or they'll show up like to my house 10 minutes before I have to be to my appointment, or they're canceling 20 minutes before my appointment. And that's not okay. Like,
Right.
you know, so, and because they're doctor's visits and that, and then their doctors aren't very thrilled with the fact that they can't get there and they're letting them know last minute. So that's been kind of an issue with that program. I mean, we're still pushing them to use it because it's there. But,
but there's some reliability issues there. I hear that. Okay. So yeah, all of the senior centers in all 4 counties are doing great programming, helping seniors get to rides. I don't know if that would be your population, Melissa. Maybe if it's a grandparent who's raising a child. Our board of DDs, we have a lot of programs. They're a little limited. I have heard some challenges with those transportation options, but it's like if you qualify for the service, that's great, but actually finding people who provide transportation is a challenge. So, but there are programs out there and they are making it work. It's just a challenge. It's always a challenge. It's always a struggle to find those transportation providers.
and just go through their SSA at the board for that to set it up.
I think they would go through their board, and what they do is they figure out what they qualify for. And then from there, you have to kind of figure out, you know, is there a transportation provider in the area? So like for Fulton County, they're doing a lot with Triangular Processing, doing a lot with Henry County Transportation Network. But sometimes they'll get like individual people who are certified in special things to be able to drive people. So it just depends on the availability, but that's very hit or miss is what I'm hearing from my colleagues that work for the board of DD.
And again, this is Steve. Yes, I would say you should always that's the first place to start would be the SSA. Even though sometimes we're trying to get the SSAs not so involved, but I think initially, if you're trying to get transportation for the first time, that's probably the best route.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's some of the things that we find too. We haven't, here in Henry County, again, the need hasn't come up too much, but we've talked about, again, in other places I've been, You know, we had contracts with parents or coworkers or whatever. Some of them work, some of them didn't. You know, sometimes you could get somebody to provide transportation if they're working the same shift. But then if the shift changes, you know, or they just get tired of driving together, but it's an option.
Mhm. Any other questions or things, situations you just want to express concerns about?
I just want to say, I think the car seat issue is interesting. I hadn't really thought about that, but I could see that being more of a barrier than I thought. Because I was thinking, boy, we should really be pushing this in our EI program. I don't know.
Your kids are in both programs, we're definitely letting them know, but but I don't know if it's being pushed, you know, through their providers, so with EI. But yeah, that's a big thing, and we don't really want them moving the seats around too much, because a lot of them we like go through, we check them, make sure they're correct, and like don't touch it unless you have to.
It's tough. I've put them in, you know, we've got like 3 different cars and it's tough. You know, it can take you a while struggling, trying to put it in while the driver's waiting for you.
You feel that pressure and maybe the kid is not happy about something. I could just, yeah, that'd be stressful. Okay. Well, my contact information was all on the slides, but at the same time, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And even if I don't have the answer, what I find is that I have some really good support structures right now that I can send out a quick email to people, and we can typically figure something out, even if it's a little piecemeal. So please feel free to utilize me if you have any kind of transportation needs or assistance. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate your attendance.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just joined by myself. I don't know.
It's a little of both, right? All right. Well, thank you and have a good night.
Thanks, Kim.
Bye.
Thanks, Kim. See you later.
Thanks, Melissa.
Yep. Great job.